Recording button.
Hello, guys. It's Tim Johnson here again. Um, um, uh, in this video podcast here, I'm gonna, I'm gonna describe, you know, you know, in this video podcast here, I'm gonna talk about here. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm gonna talk about here as a person who can't see what I really, enjoy about my wonderful, beautiful musical instrument known as my saxophone that really inspires me, to play. And it's not just the vibration features of the instrument either, but, and it's not just the tactile keys either that assist me as far as, having all that tactile feedback and all of the, things that you need to have when playing a musical instrument as a blind person. But what I'd like to talk about, the really major benefits to having the saxophone with you, as far as the saxophone really being a part of your body, and as far as the saxophone really becoming your voice. Again, it is a voice instrument, and it does use your voice for your sound because the reed is what helps you make that sound with your voice. But what I want to talk about here in this video podcast is when wearing the instrument, how it really feels around your body to be wearing it. And of course, me not being able to see it. You might be asking right now, what do you really feel when you wear the instrument, even though you can't see it? I'm going to give you an example. Okay? What I'm doing right now is I'm gently hugging my instrument. And what this means is you might be asking yourself, you hug your saxophone? Really? Like, what does that mean when you gently hug the instrument? What does that mean to you as a person that can't see it? What does that mean to you? Well, what it means to me is the saxophone, from a person who can't see, is a very comforting instrument when it's around your neck. And it allows you, when you wear it, it feels really easy, around your neck. And it feels very comforting to wear. It's almost sort of like you're wearing a backpack, but it's not. It's a voice instrument. It's a woodwind instrument. It's the alto saxophone, which is what I'm currently using, and it when it's around my neck, I can feel that nice comforting touch to it. When it's around my neck, because it really puts me into that perfect mood to play. Because when it's around my neck, I feel instant comfort from it because of how it feels around my neck, but also letting it letting it letting it be a part of you as far as feeling comforted in many aspects of your everyday life. And it puts you in that perfect mood to want to play it because it has one of the comforting features that this instrument has, and I know a lot of people don't really cover this, but what I'm going to. One of the comforting, I'm going to cover this, is one of the comforting features that this instrument has is all-day comfort around your neck. What I mean by all-day comfort, no matter how tight you have it, and I could tighten the neck strap and it still wouldn't bother me. I could tighten it even tighter, but you don't want to do that because the mouthpiece will be too high and you'll all of a sudden poke your eye out with the reed and break the reed, and that would not be good. But I could have it in this position right now. Whoops, you know what? It's a little too high. Let's go back down a little bit more. There we go. That's better. But I could have it on at this tightness and it still doesn't bother me. It still doesn't feel tight at all around your neck because it's very comforting to wear because when you really think of it as a comforting instrument, it's sort of like your companion that's waiting for you to play and play a song off of it. It's basically, it becomes a part of your body as far as really being a part of you when you wear it. And no, I don't mean taking it to bed with you and wearing it in bed. No, that would be very uncomfortable. In fact, you'd probably damage the instrument that way, and I would not recommend it. But what I mean by being a part of you, okay, I could stand up and, but you know what? The neck strap came off. However, no problem, because I still have the saxophone in my hands. And I'm carrying it by the bell. But you might be asking yourself, how easy is it to put the neck strap on if you can't see it? Because I imagine it's pretty hard. No, actually it's not. It's not hard at all. And I'm going to show you how to put it back on if it falls off. In my case, it came off by accident. But it's very easy to put back on. Here we go. We're going to open the little clip. If it'll let me. If it'll let me open it. Come on, you funny thing. Come on, silly goose. And all I got to do is hang it on there, clip it on there, and then gently close the clip up. And there we go. It's back on there. No problem.
Adobe Flash Player Install Manager is locked.
Okay, we're going to silence that for a while. Okay, now the clip is back on. Now, what I'm going to show you, as far as it being a part of you, I know many beginners are struggling because they might be wondering, well, what happens if I let go of it? I have to hold on to it. No. You really don't have to hang on to it because the neck strap is your neck support. You can let go, and it will be right there. It'll be right there. It's not going anywhere. The horn's not going nowhere. It'll be right there. And there's the reed right here, and there's the mouthpiece. So it's not going anywhere. So for those of you that have anxiety about dropping the instrument, it's not going nowhere because the neck strap is holding it. It's not going nowhere. It's not going to disappear off your neck in midair. It's going to be right where you have it. It's going to be right where you have it. When you wear it, it provides all-day comfort when it's around your body. And it puts you in that perfectly joyful mood to play. And it puts you it brings out the happiness in you. and I'm going to show you. I'm going to just briefly play a quiet note because it's 10 o'clock here in Portland, Oregon, where I'm from here. I'm a local saxophone player from Portland, Oregon, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how it puts you in that mood to play when it's around your neck. Tighten it up a little bit more. That way, the neck strap is high enough. The mouthpiece is high enough because I'm now standing up, but it's not too high. And you can play standing up or sitting. It's your choice. It's not going to go nowhere. So I'm going to play a low note, and I'm going to show you how it's comforting to you when you hear it sound. Because you might be asking, do saxophones have bass? Yes, they do. Yes, it does. Especially at the low notes that I'm going to show you. I'm going to play the low note because the low notes are not so noisy, and I don't want to wake up anybody because it's 10 p.m. here in Portland. For the rest of you guys, it might be a different time zone where you guys are. Okay, here we go. Very nice and quiet low note, but with some bass and vibration to it. And I could feel that vibration on the instrument. And let's do 2 more, and that will conclude tonight. And let's do the note above that. And you can and you can feel the bass and the vibration from the instrument itself. And you might be able to hear it in your subwoofers on your speakers, because saxophones do have bass. It does have bass, booming bass too, especially at the low notes. Here we go. Here's another one. Here's the low note C C. That was the low note B B. That was the low note B. Here's low note C. And then here's A flat after that. And speaking of my A flat notes, that is the hardest note to play. However, I have been playing now for a year, and I've been working on my low sound to get that perfect tone out there. Once in a while, it won't come out, but other times it does. And I've been working on that for at least a year, and along with playing other songs and and learning new songs every day. I've been playing now for a year, and I'm really proud of it, and I'm really happy to have this instrument in my life. So, because I got into saxophone music when I was 34, and all I knew for a long time was heavy metal stuff, which over time that can cause a person to be angry and not so friendly after a while. And I'm 36 years old, and I kind of don't want to go back to 33. Thank you very much, because that wasn't a good year for me. So,
3 items. Device not found.
yeah, we'll take care of that pretty soon. But anyway, here is 2 more low-pitch comforting notes. And again, these notes are very comforting when you hear them. No matter what note you play, they are comforting. But some people may be sensitive to the higher notes, and they have sensitive ears. This is why it's important to learn how to do those low notes perfectly. And here's another one. Here's the low note C. Now here are the tactile keys. That's what the saxophone features. I'm going to do that again.
2 items. Busy. Progress indicator.
That's the sound of the tactile keys coming from the saxophone. And it's really important that you train. Also, it's really important that you train your fingers to get used to these keys, especially if you are coming from an instrument with flat keys, for example, the piano, that you may have had problems with in the past, especially if you are a person with a vision impairment who's had problems, like I had, and couldn't feel anything as far as what you were playing. And that's what I'm doing to help train my fingers that these keys are not what my fingers think they are. So it's very important that you train your fingers to get used to the saxophone keys, because it's what your fingers have been looking for a long time, especially because we require tactile keys for our instruments that produce tactile feedback. So I don't mean to keep doing this excessively, but I'm trying to convince people who may have a vision impairment that there is an instrument out there that can help them. And that's the saxophone, because it vibrates and it has tactile keys. Very easy to feel keys indeed. So, okay. That's enough of that. So we're going to do 2 more low notes to show you how comforting these notes can be, especially when you're playing in a crowd that may not want to hear the high notes, that may get instantly startled. Because there are people that may get startled if the saxophone goes off at the high notes. And you don't want to startle these people, because people that have these issues, you really want to show kindness to them, especially when they weren't ready for high-pitched, screechy saxophone sounds to go off right in their ear. So, especially if you're standing right there. So, here we go. And you might be asking yourself, did that note have bass in it? Yes, it does. All of these low notes leading up to, well, as soon as you get higher and higher in pitch, you lose the bass in these notes. Now we're going to do the low note A flat. And this is the one that may be harder for some people. But there is a workaround for that. You take a breath before you blow that note. That way you can get enough air and your jaws will stay opened and won't get in contact with the reed. Here we go. Oops, it didn't want to come out. Okay, let's try one more time. Okay, I know that one sounded a little bit quieter than what I wanted it to be, but let's try one more time here. Maybe my hand wasn't on the key, on the button on this big key over here. That might be why. Let's try one more time here. That is a tricky one, I will say. But once you do it enough times, once you get that note out there, it'll come out perfectly. That is a tricky one, I will say. That is very tricky. But once you get it out there, it will come out perfectly. Maybe if I start out at the other low note first and then work my way down, that should help a little bit. Okay, well it quit right in the middle of it. Okay, let's do one more time. Yeah, sometimes you may have to start out at the three lower notes above that to get down to the lower note A sharp. Because sometimes when you blow into it, it may not come out perfectly right away. So that's why you want to start out at the three lower notes before the low note A flat note. So, and it's also good to practice long notes too. That way, your voice box will be able to hold it easier for you. And also, it's good to really enjoy your instrument, especially the saxophone, because it will bring you a lot of joy and a lot of comfort in your life, especially when it's around your neck. Because when you wear it around your neck, and I know I might sound a little strange when saying this, but when you wear it around your neck, you can feel its comfort around your neck, especially from everyday things that you may experience in your life when it comes to stress at work, stress when it comes to helping out a family member who might be, who isn't feeling well. So, and so many other things that we experience in our lives every day. So, it's good to really also, it's good to really enjoy this wonderful instrument because of what it has. And one of those features is the three things: vibrating features, tactile keys, and an all-day comfort, especially when it's around your neck. Because it really does feel comforting to me, as a blind person, because I know I've been saying that I hug my saxophone because it really puts me in that perfect mood to want to play, because it really does comfort me from a lot of things that I may experience in my everyday, day-to-day life. And I'm really happy that the saxophone came in to my life today at age 36. And it will stay in my life permanently for the rest of my life, because it's one of those instruments that never leaves you.
Authentication.
Have a hold of
Login.
it.
Window. Logged in Tim Johnson button.
So once you have a hold of this instrument, it will never leave you. Unless you, now, this is one other thing I like to mention now. Unless if you have second thoughts about playing the instrument, because I see this in a lot of people. People may be serious about playing this beautiful instrument, this beautiful, comforting instrument. And then they might turn around and say, well, I have second thoughts about playing the instrument. I don't know if it's something I want to continue doing because, well, it's too much time. Well, if it's too much time, then why did you spend the extra $800, $900, or $1,000 purchasing an instrument that sits there and doesn't do anything? Because guess what happened? You just wasted $1,000 on an instrument that really benefits you and really comforts you when it's around your neck and really allows you to feel what you're feeling inside and makes you feel better about everything in your life. So if you have second thoughts about playing this instrument, then I would really think carefully before giving it away. Because if you give away this beautiful, comforting instrument, I can guarantee you that you're going to experience something that you don't want to experience, and that is regret that you gave it away. Well, why are you experiencing that? Because you gave it away and you had second thoughts. Well, now that you gave it away, there probably, in some circumstances, there probably is no chance of getting it back once you gave it to somebody. That person may have taken it and really, cherished it and really put in a lot of time and a lot of effort. And again, effort, because you have to put in a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of enthusiasm to play, because it's not something because if you're saying, well, I want it because I want it, well, that's not a good valid reason, because if you want this instrument just to have it and not play it, there's something seriously wrong, because, and I see that in a lot of people. I will give you an example. Here in Portland, we have a couple people. I have support through an agency called Up and Out that assists me with my everyday things that I need help with. Some things I need help with, but others I do find on my own. And I'll give you an example of some people that I know of. I'm not going to use names in this podcast because in this video podcast, because it's confidential. So I will give you an example. One person heard my saxophone playing at Up and Out's annual picnic. And this person said, I could do that, I could do that, I could do that. Okay, well, you say that you can do that. Well, are you going to put in the time and the effort to want to do it, to sit down with your instrument and play and learn how it, learn the basics of your instrument and learn all about its features? Probably not. If you're the kind of person that says that just to say it, then that's not being sincere, not only to yourself, but other people. Other people will notice, and they'll say, "Well, this person is not being sincere, and we're probably not going to get him the instrument because he can't. He isn't able to. He isn't able to understand the time. That you have to put in the time and the effort to want to do it." Okay, the saxophone is something that you really enjoy, and it's something to not leave hanging around just doing nothing. See, I don't know what will happen if somebody does that. I have imagined. I'm sure that somebody has done that, and I'm sure the saxophone probably didn't function after so many years of not being used. But in this case, you don't want it to sit around and not get used. And this is something that I ran into before I first got my saxophone, because a lot of family members of mine were concerned that I wasn't being sincere when I said I wanted to play the instrument. And when they saw all of my saxophone videos and all of the saxophone versions of songs that we know and love, and yes, I do have those versions, and you can see those on here, on YouTube here. Everybody was like, wow, Tim Johnson is very serious. He's not saying it just to say it. He really has a passion for the instrument and loves the instrument and loves the fact that it uses his voice and everything to really bring out, the joy in his life. So if you're not serious about playing the instrument, and if you don't experience its comfort, like I do right now, because one more time, I'm gently hugging the instrument so I can show you how comforting it feels around your neck. Because it really does bring out the joy in you when you wear it. And it makes you very happy inside. And it really, it wants you to play it. It wants you to experience happiness in your life because of what it brings to you. And the saxophone almost, now I might be wrong about this, but it almost is sort of talking when you blow into it, because it is second to the human voice. It is second to the human voice because it does use your voice for your sound, and it does And one of the other things that I like about this beautiful instrument, not just the comfortability and accessibility of the instrument, but one of the other big features that I like about this instrument, it will tell you, well, it doesn't talk, but it will make a different sound. For example, if your reed is warped or if your voice box is screeching at the higher level, at the higher notes for some reason. So it will let you know of that by playing a different sound to let you know, hey, your voice box is screeching or you have a bad reed installed in me. So I'm going to let you know that your reed is bad because I asked my saxophone teacher Melissa today at the Portland Music Company, how would I know non-visually if my reed is bad? Because as a blind person, there's really no way to tell from a blindness perspective if our reed is bad by feeling it. There really is no way to tell if the reed is a little bit warped. There's no way to tell because there's really no feeling in, well, the best way to tell that your reed is no longer functional if the tip of the reed gets soft. That's one of the things that you can sense. But if it's slightly warped from being used a lot, you're not going to feel it. And speaking of that, I have a Van Doren Java reed that's starting to go out. Actually, I should probably toss that. In fact, let me go get that reed out of my saxophone case. I'm just going to walk over here to my dresser. And again, I'm going to just gently hold the instrument and I'm going to let go. Now, see how it's staying right where it is and it's not moving? The neck strap is not moving at all. It's staying right where it is and the horn is not going to go nowhere. It's staying right here. So I'm going to go over here and thank goodness I left my case opened for my saxophone reed, or for everything, so I could get to this reed that's going out. Let me just make sure, because I got several reeds in here. I can't tell if this is the Van Doren one or I think this is the one that's starting to go out. And again, there's really no way for us to tell. Oh, you know what? I did sense a little bit of, oh yeah, the tip of the reed is a little bit warped, but I can't feel it at all. There's really no direct way for us to feel non-visually if the reed is warped. There's really no way for us to know. There really is no way for us to know that, unfortunately, which I don't understand why the reed manufacturers don't think about that. But unfortunately, there really is no way for us to know that. But the best way to know is by playing it and then finding out that your note is not coming out right. And then that's how you will know that your reed is warped. So now let me just make sure that I'm getting the right reed out, that I'm going to throw away the right one, because I am still using a pair of Rico reeds, which are beginner reeds, which I don't really need those now because I'm past the beginner stage, and in the what is it? The intermediate stage right now. So let me just make sure, because I can't. There is printing on the reed, but I can't read it at all because there is no. Let's see. Is there a reed attached to this? I can't tell if. Definitely see something in here. Yep, there it is. There it is. Oh yeah. It was really deep in there. I had to really get it out to. I had to really get it out to see. Okay, nope. This is the Rico reed, I think. See, again, there's really no way to tell whatsoever. Because again, I can't read the printing on it, so that really doesn't do me any good, unfortunately. So I will have to. Okay, I stuck it back in the reed cover. Okay, when you get out the right one, make sure I'm not going to throw away the wrong one, because if I accidentally throw away the wrong one, I'm going to feel bad, because I just threw away a perfectly good. Okay, make sure that, oh, you know what? This reed, the tip of the reed, let's see, is it in there right? It most certainly is, but it's way in there. That's the bad part. And also, you really don't want to, okay, let me just make sure. I noticed too, with these, you really don't need to put them in very far either. And that's also another downside when you put them in. Let me just try to get this one out if I can, if it'll budge. Wow, it's really in there. So yeah, you really don't need to, yeah, it's really in there. Good. Okay. Let me see if I can get this out here. Hopefully I won't break a reed when trying to get it out, because it's really in there good. I must have put it in there good this time, because I am having a difficult time. Ooh, did I get it out? No. Nope, not even close. Oh, it came out. But you know what? This tip of the reed, you know what? It's a little bit warped. Yeah, now I can feel it. Now I know what happened. I put it in there. I gotta throw this reed away, because you know what? I put it in too far, and you know what? Not good, because you know what? The tip of the reed, now I can feel something. The tip of the reed is cracked, because I put it in too far. Not cool. You don't want to do that. So I've learned something just today. You don't have to put the reeds in very far either. You know what? I learned that the hard way. So, well, even though I am a blind saxophone player, I am learning a lot of things as I go. And one of those things is that you don't need to insert the reed too far into the reed cover, because you're going to have a heck of a time getting it out. And not only that, the tip of the reed will crack if you're not careful. So, okay, do I have the mouthpiece on there? Yeah, good, I do. So let me just throw away this reed because it's cracked and I can't use it. So I'll be right back. So, okay, throw away this one because I can't use it. There we go. Because now that it's cracked, it's not usable. So that's one of the things that I have definitely learned just tonight. And do not insert your reed into the reed cover too far. You don't need to. It's not necessary because it goes right in to place without problems. And I've learned that just tonight. Let me make sure. Let's see, do I have, you know what? I think, oh, you know what? I've got on the, you know what, I'm going to have to not, you know what, I may have done it to this one too. Oh, nope, it came right out. But, ooh, you know what, ooh. Yeah, this is the Van Doren one, I think. It's hard to know. It's hard to know because it's, again, even though the tip of the reed is a little bit warped, you can't see it from a blindness point of view. You can't see it at all. I mean, you really can't feel it. The only way you can feel it is if something really happened to the tip and it got cracked like the other one did. And I think that one was a Rico reed or something that got cracked. You know what? I think it was. I mean, I can't see it, but let's put this one back in the reed cover, but not too far. Or actually, yeah, just in case, okay, I think this one might be the Van Doren, yeah, it might be the Van Doren reed because it is a bit thicker. So what we're going to do to avoid any further confusion, we're going to throw away this one just in case because yeah, so let's just make sure because we want to avoid any further problems because we still, because the Van Doren one is no longer usable after it warped a little bit. So let's just make sure. Okay, there we go. Now, there we go. Now we inserted it, but not too far. We just inserted it enough to where we can get it out. Okay, we can get it out like this. Okay, so that's what I've learned recently. Well, maybe this reed is, you know what? It might be a Rico reed. Well, the only way to find out if it is, if this reed that's on my saxophone currently goes out, then I can try this one and see what it is. But for now, I'm not sure. But I'm guessing it's a Rico reed. But I'm guessing the other one, you know what? I'm thinking the other one that cracked because it was warped in the first place was the Van Doren. You know what? I think that's what it was. I just couldn't tell. See, again, there's really no way to tell when they're a little bit warped. There's really no way to tell from a non-visual perspective. There's really no way for us to see that from a blindness perspective, which I do wish that there was, but there isn't, sadly. Okay. Just make sure that I got this in there all the way, but not. Okay, this tip doesn't look like it's warped, so I'm going to assume that this is the Rico one. I think the other one was Van Doren, I think. The one that officially cracked after a while, because yeah, it was really in bad shape, so I'm guessing this one is the Rico one, so I'll have to try it out when this Rico one goes out. And the other thing is too, even though you're taking care of the reeds, they will go out after a certain number of months. So you also want to buy a 10-pack of reeds when you can. That way you have plenty of reeds on hand just in case, because these reeds will not last forever. So, okay, let's close up my saxophone case here. Okay, and then, all right. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this this video podcast, even though some of it may have been a bit boring and may have been a bit, kind of not interesting to watch, but I thought I would just go over what the saxophone offers, especially to people who are vision impaired and that are looking to play. an instrument and really experience, really experience the comfortability in their life. And okay, so all right. Well, stay tuned for more. Um, stay tuned for more. And you guys have a good night.
QuickTime Player, movie recording window, stop.